Samuel Hathaway was looking forward to a nice relaxing Saturday night at home. His week at work was long, with him doing a couple of hours of overtime each day. Then he spent all day Saturday doing yard work, trimming the trees and bushes in the backyard. All he wanted to do was grab a beer and hold his wife while they watch whatever movie she picked. Samuel's loving wife, Hermione, had different plans. She wanted to go out dancing. Oh, how she loved to hit the town with her man on a Saturday night. It was just thrilling for her to think about being on the dance floor in her little black dress bathed in blue light. She knew that she looked so much better in blue light. Thinking of all the eyes on her and how great that made her feel, made up her mind. Yeah, it was Sam's weekend to pick what they were going to do, but she was going to get him to agree to go dancing. As they sat down for supper, Hermie saw that it was going to take some real convincing on her part to get her way. Samuel was not his normal talkative self. That was a sign that it was one of his stay-at-home Saturdays. This would be the third stay-at-home Saturday that Sam picked out of his last 5. It used to not be that way. They used to go out every Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sundays. Now, it was only Fridays and most Saturdays. They have been a couple for 13 years and he was in his mid-30s, but she was so much older and yet had more youthful energy than him. The reason why was Hermione was a sorceress. Hermione Hathaway was 704 years old and a purveyor of the arcane arts. Being only in her 700s meant the lady, who was 20 times older than her husband, was young for a wielder of magic. Hermie could not understand why her husband was not still filled with life. He only had at most 60 more years on this planet. Why waste even one night just being in when he still was young? Her man used to be so different. Not only was he full of life, he was also full of curiosity and adventure. It was hard for her to believe that the man who was happy to just eat his meatloaf in peace was the same person who was up for a 20-hour round trip just to get the best ribs in the world. The lady who lived for the moment knew that she was going to have to do whatever it took to break her husband of his nasty habit of letting life pass him by. Hermione broke the silence. I know it is your week to pick what we do on Saturday, but I was thinking we could go dancing. I would so love to go dancing. Sam unconsciously moaned when he heard his wife's suggestion. It was not for he did not want her input for the plans. He knew that she would keep on bringing it up for the rest of the night. That was one of the reasons he needed to stay in. The last 2 Saturdays spent at home were not relaxing. They were filled with his love's voice talking about what she wanted to do. Dear, we went dancing last week and we'll go next week. I need to spend tonight at home just relaxing. Just us on the couch watching whatever movie you want. This time without you bringing up how much more fun it would be doing what you wanted. Being emotional, Hermione said, now I can't say what is on my mind. Come on, my love, I did not say that. It is just I want a nice relaxing evening at home, and I cannot get that if I know you are not happy with what we are doing. Mount St. Hermione simmered down, my Jaffa, it is just I do not want to see you waste your youth. We are still young. We need to get out. We need to be seen. While this man does not need to be seen by anyone other than you tonight. I love you and love the energy you have. I will cut down on overtime at work and make sure I have more energy to get out. Hearing her husband say this man made Mount St. Hermione rumble more and ready to explode. She took his innocent statement as sexist. The rumbling also distracted Hermie from hearing the rest of what her husband said, and she asked him to repeat it. Sam, being too worn out to notice how his wife took what he said, repeated it verbatim. Hearing this man again made Mount St. Hermione erupt. While if this man did not need to go out, then he would be a woman for the night, so Sam would need to. Everything quickly shifted for the new woman. The first thing she noticed was her perspective of the room was lowered. Then from the corner of her eye she saw raven black hair flowing down the side of her face. As she went to move the hair, Sam screamed what is going on at the sight of her hand. It was slender and had long red fingernails. The confused lady screamed, knowing that she was going to get her way. Hermione became playful and said, "Calm down, Sam, or should I say Samantha. I casted a spell on you to make you a woman for the night." Being playful about changing someone's sex was her third mistake of the night. The first was not respecting her husband's decision for the itinerary of the night. Being in a relationship meant give and take. Right then the mage was only taking and not giving. The second mistake was casting a spell on him. Doing so forever changed the power dynamics in the relationship. Jokingly, the lady who went too far to get what she wanted said, "Calm down, Samantha, or should I say Sammy. I casted a spell on you for you said this man does not want to go out. I thought you would see why it is important for a woman to want to go out if you were one for the night." Sam felt misled, betrayed, and violated by his wife's actions and words. How could she not disclose she could cast spells to him? It was not fair for her to let him get into a relationship with such a power discrepancy without his knowledge. Her using her power to forcefully get her way made Sam realize that he was not an equal in their relation. Her treating him like an object to do with what she wished made him feel dirty. How she was playing it off as nothing big made the man who was now a woman question if his wife ever truly loved him. "Oh my God, I said this man in reference to me. I just want to stay in tonight. Now change me back or else you will regret doing this." Being happy that she was getting her way made Hermione not see how serious the situation was. It made her playful, for she thought that those two lovebirds will have a good laugh about this later. "Sammy, you have to remember I am the one who can cast spells, not you. There is nothing you can do to make me regret this. I want to go and we are going out. I win." Her husband said, "You will see." Hermione was relishing too much in getting her way to read the tone of determination in her husband's voice. The lady who did not know how much damage she just caused to her relationship would have had a hard time even if she was paying close attention. It was spoken in a lower than normal speaking voice. Sammy was still getting used to hearing that feminine voice come out of her mouth. When she heard how foreign her voice was, it made her speak softer. "There is nothing you can do. Just enjoy the night." There was no way Sammy could enjoy the night with the body she had and the outfit her wife picked out for her. Sammy's new body would make most Playboy's playmates jealous. The outfit made her feel like she was on display. The thigh-high black boots with 4 heels, fishnet stockings, tight black miniskirt, cut-off Guns N' Roses t-shirt which exposed her midriff. She was dressed like a girl who wanted to party all night. Then there was the accessories, a bellying piercing, a bunch of thin silver bangles on her wrist, tongue piercing and a tattoo on the small of her back. Sammy could not see or feel it, yet she knew her wife put a tramp stamp on her back. This just added to Sammy's feeling of being nothing but something physical for men to look at. It made her feel objectified. Hermione was not trying to objectify Sammy. The look was to empower her husband and help the lady who was not a lady to have a good time. The woman who just wanted to have fun also did so for a little joke. In the eyes of the lady who was only thinking from her point of view, her and Sam would have a good laugh about how he looked as a woman. She could not have been more wrong than vegan bacon. "I can't enjoy going out in this outfit, yet alone as a woman. Men will be staring at me. I do not want men to even think I am wanting their attention. I am a married man." Hermione still did not get her, and her husband was not even in the same bookstore, yet alone the same page about what she did. The lady who was making the biggest mistake in her centuries-long life joked. "You are not married to me tonight, dear. You are a woman and I married a man. You better act like a single woman while we are out or this will be ever weekend." Sammy took the words on their face value. "Fine, but you will regret this." To Hermie, the night at the club was going great, even better than she expected. She was out having a great time and her husband was enjoying experiencing the night out. The best part was Hermie believed she found the solution to her husband wanting to stay in, make the night more exciting. It was so easy to tell her friends that the lady who was next to her was an old friend from college. The lady who took over the relationship with her husband joked about how Sammy was out for a good time with a man. They all believed it. There was nothing outrageous about the story, so they did not give it a second thought. It went in one ear and out the other, and in a couple of months they will forget all about even meeting Samantha for a night. The truth was, for Samantha the night was a nightmare, but she did not let any signs of her true feelings show. Her smile was a fake as a politician's promise. Her actions were as sincere as Royal's spam email scam. Her words were as from the heart as a statement read from a political prisoner. It was all an act. Samantha was a great actress. Fear is a great motivator. The performance was helped that Sammy's audience was getting to see the play she wanted. Her wife did not think that her husband was not having a good time in his new female body after Sammy quit airing his disdain for the situation. Then the act was over. Sam's best friend, Rick Rhodes, came into the club. Sammy went from woo-hooing and dancing to the music to leaving the dance floor. Hermie knew why. Sammy was Rick's wet dream come to life. In her excitement, she forgot about that Rick would be there. Rick was newly single again and was looking for someone. She knew that he would make a move right away on Sammy. Her husband was not going to like it unless he flirted back. Hermie smiled when she saw how she was going to get out of taking responsibility for her actions. Just cast a little infatuation spell on Sammy. It would make Sammy like being hit on. Not accepting how her husband was really feeling about being a woman made the enchantress think Sammy would just assumed it natural. There were a few of mistakes about Hermie's assumption. One, Sammy was hating the night out. Her husband hated what the transgression which transpired so bad Sammy was planning on leaving Hermie at the first chance she had after she became a man again. Another was that Sammy would know that her feeling for Rick came from unnatural urges and desires. Lastly, Sammy was paying close attention to her wife and caught her casting a spell. The new lady did not know what the spell was until her thoughts about Rick changed. Sammy knew it was not right to have that strong of an attraction any man, yet alone to her true self's best friend. All the nasty thoughts about what she would do with Rick in the bedroom sickened the lady. Sammy felt even more like a plaything to her wife. Then the lady who, looking at the past, differently recalled a joke Hermie would make with her when Sammy was a man. Sammy said, "Hermie, I want to go home now." Hermie just thought the spell did not take effect yet, so looked for a way to stall. "Okay, we will leave in 5 minutes, I just got to say hi to Rick." "Fine, I am going to the car." Hermie just want to stay out, and it was going to be fun to watch her husband be gaga over a guy. It would add more juicy parts to the story about their night out together as girlfriends. "No, I need Rick to meet my dear friend from college. I think he would really like you, and I got a feeling you will like him. It's the guy I always joke with you about that you will marry." The joke was innocent, but not the circumstantial evidence made it look guilty. Rick and Sam hung so much Hermie would joke that those two should get married and that when she left him, Sam and Rick would get together. Hermie, being quick-witted and able to make the inside joke with the group of girls being any wiser, was taken in a whole different light by Sammy. It confirmed that Hermie wanted to hook Sam up with Rick. It was too perfect of a joke to be otherwise. That sick woman wanted out of the marriage, and making Sam disappear would be her way out. A divorce was out of the question, for her parents would disapprove. Sammy thought it was for religious reasons, for how they talked about knowing there is a higher power. The real reason Harry and Morgan Blackwell was adamant about divorce, they wanted to make sure their daughter was serious about marriage. They knew if their daughter got bored in the marriage after a decade or two, it was no big deal to her compared to Sam. Being a mage made it that Hermione aged how she pleased. On the other hand, Sam would have put the most precious commodity a mortal has into the fling, time. Sammy was furious at her wife as she waved Rick over. The lady under the spell was going to use every ounce of her willpower to fight those unnatural urges and desires she had for Rick. Sammy could still be friends with Rick while having feelings for him. She knew they were not really her feelings. She could not if they did anything. Rick would be a reminder of how she did not have control of who she was. The lady who was under the influence of a spell took the smile of amusement on her wife's face as Hermione being smug in victory. Rick saw Sammy and was in lust. Rick, like most people, confused his lust for love. There was no way he could have love for someone he did not know. All he saw was Sammy's smoking body and wanted to be with her. Rick straightened up and calmly walked over to his friend's wife and this angel next to her. He did not want to seem too eager, and his body language did hide it. His eyes, while they could not lie. On Rick's way over, not even a monkey in a cowboy outfit riding a border collie could make him take his eyes off the object of his natural urges and desires. Sammy's feeling of sickness grew. First, her best friend was treating her like an object. Sammy thought Rick was a better man than that. Second, she enjoyed the lust in her admirer's eyes. Sammy knew her enjoyment was not real. This made her disgust of Hermione grow. How could anyone make another person enjoy something which is against their nature? Little did Hermione know that her having a little fun at her husband's expense made her repugnant to Sammy. Rick came over and introduced himself to the mystery lady who was really his best friend. "Hi, I am Rick Rhodes, and you are?" "I am Sam. Sorry, I mean Sammy." "Sorry to be so rude, but me and Hermione was just about to go." The lady who wanted a couple of more hours out was not going to let Sammy out of this. "To the bathroom." "We will be right back, Rick. Sammy here knows all about you and she likes you." There was silence between the two ladies as they walked in the bathroom. Sammy was fuming that her wife was trying to go back on her word about leaving. The lady which Sammy's anger was aimed at was just soaking in how the night was going. It was a good time, and her husband had a great story to tell each other. "Hermione, you said we could leave after we said hi to Rick." Hermione tried to act dumb about knowing that her husband had an artificial crush on his best friend. "I saw how you looked at Rick while he was walking towards us. I thought you might like to get to know him better. You know, to see how a man treats a lady." "No, I want to go home and be myself again." Still being coy and playful, "Come on, you like him." "It is fine, you are a woman. If you two hit it off, you can be Sammy more often. Who knows, you might like it." "I am not a woman, I will not, and I do not like him in that manner." Hermione did not like that her husband lied to her. She knew that Sammy had a crush on Rick, for she placed it on him. "You are lying, you want him." "Hermione, I am not lying. I do not want him. You casted a spell on me which made me want him. It is not real and should never have been. I am not into men. Well, tonight you are, and you better act that way. Come on, quit being a stick in the mud and loosen up. I told you are not my husband tonight, you are a single woman. You better act like one." Fine if that is what you want, Hermione. Also quit calling me Hermione. You never use my full name. As your husband I never did. Remember, I am not your husband tonight. Come on, this is about having fun. I love you and just want you to enjoy life. I am not having fun. Let's get out there and this night over. Hermione was hurt that her husband did not return I love you. Quit being a baby. I cannot believe you did not say I love you back. That is not how a husband treats his wife. As Sammy quickly left the bathroom, she quipped back, Hermione, we just covered this. I am not your husband tonight. You are the one who said, so you should not expect me to treat you like I am married to you. Hermione knew right then tonight was not going as well as she thought. It would be best for them to go home, to lessen the bad blood her husband had. Then she thought that with being in the wrong she would give them doing her plans next weekend, so she might as well have a little more time out. Sammy could not believe that she had to flirt with her male self's best friend. The worst part was the woman who was forced to flirt with Rick wanted to. The lady who really was not into men found how muscular Rick was a real turn-on. She hated that on her way over she was so confident in being able to reel that man in. Sammy cringed inside when she was happy that her and Rick made eye contact. The cringing got worse when she smiled and started to sway her hips more to show him she was open to his advances. Rick returning the smile and puffing out his chest, making the smitten woman's beat faster, felt so wrong to her. Sammy did not like men in that manner. Hell, Sammy was not a real woman. Those feelings she was having were not real. They were an illusion caused by her wife. Thinking of her wife took Sammy's mind off of wanting what the lady knew she did not want. It shocked the new woman that her wife was upset about being called by her full first name. That was petty to Sammy. It made Sammy believe her wife needed everything to be her way. Sammy greeted Rick again. The lady who wanted Rick's attention was happy he admired her cleavage as they exchanged pleasantries. Finding pleasure by being checked out made her sad. Sammy knew she was going to have an inner fight to fend off those unnatural urges and desire the rest of the night. Knowing she was going to need all the help she get to fight those unnatural urges and desires made Sammy say, Rick, please respect I am a lady and do try anything unless I ask. I do like you but want to take this slow. Rick agreed. He would agree to just about anything for a chance with this lady. Her body was great and he thought, wow, about how she loved to show off her body, so it was easy to agree to whatever she wanted. Plus it was nice like to show but was not easy. Those two hit it off great. They were already friends, so it was just natural for them to mesh. With Rick not knowing the woman in front of him was really his best friend, he mentioned how strange it was they hit it off so well. Sammy downplayed it and said it was how great of a guy Rick was. While giving Rick that compliment, Sammy glazed into his eyes. Her vagina was actually starting to lubricate itself just thinking of kissing him. Oh, how she wanted the touch of his lips on her. She knew right then she was weak and might not be able to fight off any move Rick made. Rick saw the wand in Sammy's eye and acted out of character. He kissed her. For the most part, Rick was a gentleman and respected a woman's wishes. This time he did not. Rick for once in his life went and grabbed what he wanted at the first opportunity he saw. He was not going to take the chance that this opening would be the only one of the night. At first Rick knew he made the right choice for how Sammy kissed him back. Her arms started to wrap around his torso. Then her arms stopped and she pushed off of him. Sammy hated that she did what was right for her. She hated that she hated making sure she had no more regrets about tonight. Sammy sneered at Rick, I told you not to try anything. You are no different than any other man. Hermione was not enjoying seeing Rick and Sammy hit it off as much as she thought she would. Yeah, those two flirting would be fun to laugh about once her husband quit being a baby, but she was getting a little jealous. Inside that beautiful woman was her husband and no one else can ever have him. Then the kiss got her mad at Rick and Sammy. Seeing Sammy push Rick off made her happy. Her man was faithful to her. She followed her husband out of the club. Hermione agreed it was time to go home now. On her way out of the club she saw Rick following the lady who was trying to get away from him. She knew he was only going to apologize but was not going to let him upset Sammy. Her Jaffa did not want to talk to the guy who took liberties with him while he was in a woman's body. She casted a command spell on Rick and screamed stop at him. Rick quit the pursuit. The effects of the spell only lasted 10 seconds, but that would be more than enough time for Hermione to catch up with her husband. As she ran out of the club, Hermione went towards their car but did not see Sammy going towards it. The lady who was looking for her better half knew there was not enough time for Sammy to be in the car. She scanned the parking lot and saw Sammy heading to the street. The concerned wife called out Sam as she ran to catch up to her upset husband. Sammy did not acknowledge her wife calling her by her real name. She did not want anything to do with the person who made her life an existential crisis. Hermione was not prepared for the conversation which happened when she caught up with Sammy. As the wife put her hand on Sammy's shoulder, "Come on, Sam, we are going home. I am driving, you are too shaken up from Rick trying to kiss you." "Hermione, I am not shaken up by that. I am upset about what you did tonight. Now change me back and leave me alone." Still not wanting to own up to her actions, the lady who was trying to save face tried to use pop psychology. "Don't transfer your anger on your friend crossing a boundary onto me. I led Rick on and he read the signs right. You wanted us to flirt. If I was not a woman this would not have happened, so do not try to say you are not at fault. If you did not command me to act like a single woman to become a man again this would not have happened, so do not try to say you are not at fault. I do not govern the actions of others and I was joking with you about acting like a woman. But you do, you made me have a crush on him. Who knows, you could have done the same with him. I did not cast a spell on Rick. I would never cast a spell to control another person's feelings." Hermione, trying to defend the indefensible, sounded like she thought Sammy to be less than others. The lady was not in the mood to fight, so she did not mention how what she just heard was a lie. Her wife did change Sammy's feeling about Rick. "I really do not care right now, just change me back now or leave me alone." The sorceress did not want the people wandering the street to see a free magic show, especially one which had real magic. It would draw attention from the judicators, the enforcers of the code of the magic users. She broke that code, casting the transformation and infatuation spells on her husband. They had been cracking down on mages casting magic on mortals against their will. "I can't in public. I will do it in the car." Even with being angry, Sammy was thinking clear enough to know her wife was telling the truth. A woman becoming a man would cause a huge scene, for someone would see it. She agreed to her wife's reasonable request. The regretful mage was true to her word and changed Sammy back to Sam once they were in the car. On the way home, Hermione was giving her husband excuses instead of reasons why she went overboard tonight. The difference between an excuse and a reason is where the blame lies. In an excuse, the blame is where it should not be, and in a reason, the blame is where it should. Hermione saw no real fault of her own in her actions, so only excuses came out of her mouth. Sam stayed quiet. Hermione took it as her husband soaking in what she was saying. He was not. The reason the conversation was mostly one way was that Sam was scared of his wife right now. He did not know what she would do if he disagreed with her. The next morning Sam woke up hoping that last night was a dream. His urge to put on panties told him it was not. He knew it would be so pleasurable to feel lace on his buttock but hated the thought. It was for Sam knew the desire was not a real desire. The false want was given to him by his wife. She justified it by saying it would ebb away in a couple of days. Sam became ill when he thought of himself as a female. He knew that he was not a woman trapped in a man's body, but the main thought on his mind was why did he have the wrong body? The worst was how his wife lied to him. First, his love never told him she was a sorceress. That was a lie of omission. A person should share they had supernatural powers before they married someone. Then that she turned him into a woman for a night so he could regain his sense of adventure. No, it was for she wanted to go out and made him go along unwillingly. Hermione said she missed his spontaneity while she was going to get to see it. Sam made a quick decision he was leaving her right now. She wanted to see him do something without planning it, while how he left her would be done improv style. Sam saw she was still sleeping, so he had the advantage. He grabbed his wife's silk robe belt and quickly tied her arms. Hermione was startled, scared when she woke up seeing her husband tying her arms. "Why are you doing this?" As the man who wanted to neutralize his wife's unnatural powers was tying her legs together with his cotton robe belt so you cannot cast a spell on me. I only did that last night so you would not be a stick in the mud and stay in. We had so much fun. No, you had fun. I was forced to act like I had fun. Anything which I found fun last night was not natural. How could you think I had fun if I was forced to think what I wanted not to do was fun? I hate thinking that I had fun doing all those things against my own free will. Oh dear, your male ego is wounded. I was not going to let you do anything with Rick. It was harmless flirting. I did not make him kiss you. Come on, you have to admit it was fun to see how the other half lived. You will never have to be a woman again as long as you go out more often. Hearing Hermione be all nonchalant about him not being himself angered her husband even more. Sam knew how much he wanted to be with Rick was a lie, yet she found nothing wrong with it. It was just a joke, not real to her. He hated that he wanted a lie. You did make me kiss him, remember your words, I am not your husband tonight but a single lady. I better act that way. I had to flirt with him or else you might not have changed me back. I will never have to be a woman again. I hate that I want to be one. You were extremely wrong in doing what you did. I will not live in fear of my wife. The lady who was still not seeing all of the damage she did to the relationship made a mental note to dispel the crush Sam had on Rick after she was untied. Oh, I was going to change you back. I was not serious. I was joking. It was in fun. Lighten up, Sam. Those feelings will pass and you remembering how you feel now will be motivation so you do not let life pass you by. You don't get what happened last night. You broke the trust between us. I do not know what to believe about our relationship anymore. You might have been casting spells on me during our entire relationship. I do not even know if my love for you is real or it is forced by you. Hermione was hurt that her husband thought that she used magic on him other than last night. The lady did not understand that when trust is broken between people it changes the perception of the past to the person who lost faith in the other. The lady full-heartedly believed just stating the truth would set the record straight. I would never cast a spell on you, I love you. Yeah, right, like you did not cast spells on me last night. Wait, you did cast spells on me last night. You made me a woman and now I am something I am not. I am transgender. I do not want to be transgender. You did not even think of me. You did not think of how your actions would affect me. That will pass. I made a little mistake, get over it. How do I know it will pass? Also, that is more than a little mistake. For I am telling you, it is just the remnants of the spells, it will wear off after I dispel the magic on you. I promise you I will never cast a spell on you again. I do not trust you. You don't get it, I am not fighting about this anymore. It is simple, I am leaving you right now. We can never be equals, for you will just cast a spell to get your way. Untie me so we can talk. Like I said, I will dispel the magic you to get rid of your desire to be a woman and your crush on Rick right now. No way I am going to untie you. I am not going to stick around here with you. I am not giving you a chance to change my mind with magic. You said you missed me being spontaneous, well, here I am doing so. I am gone, out of your life. How about your stuff? Samuel said nothing as he changed and left. The lady who was tied up could not believe her husband's fear and loathing towards her. It was just a couple little spells. Nothing major. Her and her friends used to do cast spells on each other all the time when growing up. The mistress of the supernatural knew she should have just casted a spell to refresh her husband, but still it was just one night as a woman. It was still just a harmless spell. In her eyes, he was overreacting to her overreaction. Right after Sam walked out of the door, Hermione used a spell to become unbounded. The thought that she caused a lot of trouble in her relationship made her forget that she needed to dispel the infatuation spell on her husband. Now all she could think of was how to stop her husband from leaving the house. As Sam was leaving his house, he was too focused on escaping from the witch to start think of the new obsession last night gave him, wanting to be a woman. This unnatural desire was the residue of the spell not yet out of his body. It was a normal side effect of a transformation spell, and an abnormal occurrence faded away. With Sam still having the infatuation spell on him, the lingering effect of the transformation would not fade away. It would attach to the spell which was affecting him. As Sam was crossing the living room, he heard his wife suggest for him to wait. The man who wanted out of his house more than anything complied with Hermione's request. It was a spell. Right then he knew his wife went back on her word she just gave a couple of minutes ago. Hermione knew she messed up by casting that spell, but was not too concerned. She was not going to have to face the consequences of casting this one. Her husband would not believe any of the events happened. It was all going to be a crazy dream to him, for she was going to break her word one more time. The mage was going to hypnotize her husband to believe none of this was real, it was all a dream. Hermione's plan would have worked, but there was the natural infatuation Rick had for Sammy and unnatural infatuation Sam now had for Rick. Rick was going to find his Cinderella, and when he came over to ask, the facts would be too powerful for Sam to ignore. He would use logic and put it all together. Hermione thought she had everything under control, so she went shopping. That was when Rick came over. He was remorseful about kissing Sammy last night and wanted to apologize to her. He messed up and was too eager to move things along. Rick felt bad that the lady of his dreams thought he was just like any other man. Rick was not. He took that chance, for he did not want to regret not doing so. Rick knocked on the door, hoping that Sammy did not go home yet. Sam was still feeling strange about the dream he had last night. It just felt so real to him. Then he heard the doorbell. He got up and opened the door. The reaction he had seen his best friend told the man last night was not a dream, but a waking nightmare. Sam being happy seeing Rick was normal, so that did not give the truth about last night. The rise in his pants was what rose the speculation that his wife was indeed a witch. The thought of wanting to jump Rick's bones confirmed the speculation to fact. There was no way Sam was going to be alone with his friend. Sam thought, There is no telling what I would try to do with Rick. That was a lie. Sam knew exactly what he would do, make his best friend ravish him like the woman Sam wanted to be. He cursed that bitch of his wife for doing this to him and also for changing him back. He so wanted Rick inside the vagina he lost when he reverted back to who he was. Rick was too obsessed with making the wrong he did right to notice the lust in his friend's eyes. "Hey there, Sam, is Hermie here? I need to talk to her about her friend, Sammy." "No, my wife is not here and her friend went back home." "You will never see Sammy again." "Well, tell Hermie to call me, I need to talk to Sammy." "I will, see you later, Rick. I don't have time for this, I need to do something." Rick only had one thing on his mind, so he did not even notice his friend blowing him off with a lame excuse. "Okay, later, do. Talk with you soon." As Sam closed the door, he was grateful his friend left. He was so close to give in to the urge to invite him in. The conflicted man's skin crawled just thinking of what he wanted to do. Sam knew he had to get out of this house before his wife came back. He would beg her to turn him back into Sammy. The man was under the impression him being a female was what she wanted, and he was not going to give her the pleasure of asking for it. No one could blame him for believing that. She did turn him into one last night. Then her threats of transforming him more often if he did not enjoy it and do what he was told. Then to give him a fake crush on his best friend. That was cold. He had to either stay away from Rick or succumb to acting upon what his true essence would never want. The man, who was hoping to leave the house before his wife got back, packed some clothes and personal supplies in a suitcase. Then grabbed his laptop and left without leaving a note. He wanted time to start to cut off lines of communications to his wife before she found out her deceit did not work. Hermione came home to an unexpectedly quiet house. It made her wonder if her Sam had plans today, and that was the reason he did not want to go out. The lady, who was getting more guilt about the events of the last couple of days, was a little relieved when she was confident Sam had no plans. She looked on the whiteboard on the fridge to see where her husband was. It being blank was odd. It was not like her Jaffa to not inform her what was going on. The lady who did not know her husband left her called him. Another strange occurrence, it went to voicemail after the second ring. Sam would never decline her call. Instead of leaving a message, she hung up and called right back. The lady, who was starting to worry about her husband, found relief when it went to voicemail right away. Her man must have just entered a bad reception area when she called. The lady who lost the heart of the man she loved left a sweet message for him to call her back. After that, she went about her day fixing a nice supper for them. Even with her being under the belief that her husband thought last night was not real, Hermie still wanted to make amends. Oh, she did not want to have to fully pay for her actions, she just wanted to do enough to feel better about what she did. Then after a couple of hours, she did start to worry again about the whereabouts of her husband. Not leaving a note and then not returning her call was not normal. Her level of anxiety was not up to the level for her to call him yet when the phone rang. She answered it without looking at who it was and said, "Hey there, sexy." Rick could not resist playing along. "I hope Sam is not home so he does not find out about us." Hermie did not want to deal with Rick right then. How much he was into Sammy last night made her think she was a little cruel to have her husband hit on him. It only achieved leading the man who wanted someone special on and to be let down. "Rick, Sammy does not want to talk with you. She was not mad at you. It is just she does not live around here and does not want to start a long-distance relationship with anyone. Even a great guy like you. I know that Sammy does not want anything with me, Sam told me when I stopped over. I still want to at least apologize to her. Have her call me. You told Sam about last night? Yes. Sammy was amazing. I had to tell my best friend about the woman of my dreams. It was not even how she looked, it was how great we hit it off. Thinking back on the night now, she was like a female version of Sam. I guess that is why we got along so well and why you and her are friends. Hermie could not believe that her husband found out about last night and this morning. She now knew why no message on the fridge and he did not answer her call. Rick, I need to get going. I will tell her you are sorry. Don't worry about it, she is fine with what you did. After she hung up the phone on Rick, the panic lady called Sam. Her panic grew when she got the generic intercept message of, "We're sorry, you have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service. If you feel you have reached this recording in error, please check the number and try your call again." Sam was pissed off and was leaving her. She then laughed for she started to calm down. All she had to do was use scrying magic to locate him. Then she thought better of it. She did not want to use more magic on him. She already went back on her word about never casting a spell on him twice today. The lady who was starting to see some of the damage she has done to her relationship did not want to do more. After all, Sam was a level-headed person and would come back after he cooled down. Finding him right now would hamper her in fixing the situation. Even if she used good old detective work by looking up charges on their credit card, Sam would think she used magic. Until he was not mad at her actions, anything she did would be seen as magic to him. The night passed and Sam did not come back home. As each moment that passed made the lady, who could find him at a literal snap of her fingers, wanted to just use magic. She fought that temptation for she wanted him to come back on his own free will. Finally, after midnight, the weary lady went to bed. The next day at work, Hermie got called down to the front desk. She thought the worse on her travel to meet the unexpected visitor. Something bad has happened to Sam. When she arrived, Hermie saw a man in a suit holding an envelope. The security guard sitting at the front desk motioned to the stranger she was who he was waiting for. He went up to her and said, "Are you Hermione Hathaway?" "Yes, yes, yes." "Just tell me, is Sam all right?" The man said nothing until he put the envelope in her hands. "You have been served." The stunned lady opened the envelope and saw it was a restraining order. Her husband has put a restraining order on her. By the time she processed the information, the process server has left the building. Hermie was not going to get any information out of him. Hermione's voice was shaking when she called upstairs to inform her boss of a personal emergency and she needed to take a half day. Ms. Copperfield was fine with her subordinate leaving and asked if everything was all right. Hermie said yes, left the office and went home to regroup. When the lady whose life was falling apart got home, she started to call all of Sam's friends and she got no joy. Most of them had not heard from him and the ones who did would not give any information. She tried his old phone number once more. Again she got the generic intercept message. It was what she expected but wanted to assure herself it would occur. Hermie finally broke down and called her mom. Hermie did not want to resort to getting help from her mom, but it was better than using magic. She swore to herself that she would never use magic on Sam again. In fact, the last couple of days has turned her off of having those powers. A couple of months later, Samantha sat in her apartment in a nice little blouse skirt combo. She hated how right those clothes felt on her. How she was presenting herself was a lie, and every day she was losing the fight to stop this fiction from becoming reality. The man who was losing his masculinity knew it was a matter of time before he would succumb to those unnatural urges and go out as Sammy. The woman within him dying to come out was also why he stayed in all the time and became a recluse. Sammy did not want her friends or family to know only the shell was a man. This strained her relationships with all the people she held dear. The worst was now the friendship between Rick and the man she used to be was non-existent. They had not talked much since Samantha and Rick kissed. That kiss made the magically made woman sick for how she yearned to be kissed by Rick again. Oh, to be held by Rick's strong arms and gaze into his hazel eyes. The worst was Sammy knew that even when she finally admitted defeat and accepted being Samantha, her feelings for Rick would not be reciprocated. Sam could not believe that she was going to be heartbroken by not getting a man she really did not want. Even with longing to be with Rick, Sam knew wanting that man was an imitation of desire, just like her wanting to be woman was. Then it happened. Samantha heard that ... knock which was so familiar and it scared her. She knew the knock was from the wife who she was estranged from. Samantha held on to the marriage. Her strong moral made her stay faithful to the lady she hated. Not wanting to cheat made her deny the hunger of going after to the man of her manufactured dreams. The lady who knew this day was coming was not prepared. Samantha hid in the chair, knowing that she was not going to answer the door. She did know there was no telling what that sorceress would do to her. Hopefully Hermione would lost interests and leave. Sammy finally admitted that she was going to have to move out of town. Then wait until her wife found her again. It would be a life on the run. Being on the run might be the answer. She would have no roots, so it would be easy to hide what she has become. Not having much time in one place would also make it so Samantha would not be able to transition. As Samantha was trying to see the good in becoming a fugitive to her wife, she heard Sam open the door. "I know you are in there. We need to talk. You cannot run from me forever." Sammy might not be ready to admit defeat to the spell, but she was going to with her wife. The lady who was not a lady did wonder why it took the witch so long to find her and knew she had to let her in. Sammy used the feminine voice she'd been practicing and said, "Hold on, I am going to unlock the door. After I open it, a little count to 10 and come in." The lady who spent many hours searching for her husband did not understand why Sam's voice sounded sweeter or the strange request. It did not matter, she found her husband and was going to straighten this out. Hermione sacrificed a lot of time, money and what she thought made her who she was to find the person who really did. There was no way the lady who wanted to be whole again was leaving here with the part of her which was missing. She opened the door and saw her husband in drag. "Why are you dressed like that?" Hearing the question made Sammy dread the rest of her life. She knew that from now on she was just a puppet to be controlled by the marionette mistress. Sammy hated when anyone gloated, and now she had to put up with it. "For you want me to." That answer made no sense. There was no way that Sam knew she was coming. The last couple of months Hermione did a lot of soul searching. She found out that she needed to not jump to conclusions and fill in the blanks all the time. Not depending on her intuition gave her the time to reason that Sam did not want to be dressed like this and did not know why he was. "What do you mean, my love?" Even with Sammy not being all the man she used to be, that lady still knew her wife, at least she believed she did. Hermione did not want to make the loser give a detailed answer, she actually did not know. Sammy looked at the lady who she used to share a bed with and saw how much she aged the last couple of months. She knew that her wife looked the same as the day they met, so her appearance was not right. Right then the love and caring Sammy had for the person who made the man he used to be whole momentarily defeat the fear and loathing she had for Hermione. "My love, sit down. Are you all right?" While taking a seat for Hermione was still not used to her feet aching from being in heels all day, she said, "Yes, life has been hard on me since you left. Never mind me, why are you in a dress? Your magic is still affecting me. I still want to be a woman and to be with Rick. Admitting the truth made Sam quit the fight against Samantha. Tears of defeat rolled down Samantha's face as she said, "Hermie, please end this misery. Just give me what I know I do not want but desire, to become a woman. You can find another man to be with until he slows down and get rid of him however you want." Hermione spent the last couple of months self-loathing. That self-hate was just a brick compared to the skyscraper of detest the woman just got for herself. She realized that she never took the infatuation spell off of her husband. It must have been a living hell for him. "Sam, I never took the infatuation spell off of you, so the lingering effect of the transmutation spell latched onto it. I am so sorry. I don't care why, just end me having this constant desire. Make the woman I do not want but need to be. I can't and would not do so if I could. What do you want me to do? Please, I am in so much pain right now. I do not know how much longer I can hold off the urge which is not truly mine." Tears of defeat rolled down the ex-magic user face. The reason Hermie could not give her husband relief from the torture was she was a sorceress no more. During that soul-searching she knew that Sam was who she wanted to grow old with. That was the reason she got so upset about him showing his age. Her husband's progression towards old age reminded she would live on long after he died. His words of them never being equals as long as she could cast a spell on him made her see that she would have to give up what she thought was the most important aspect in her life, her magic, to get what really was everlasting love with her true companion. "I can't, for I gave up my magic. I cannot cast spells. I want you and we had to be equals. I elevated myself to your level to get you back." Sammy knew it was true and everything made sense. Why it took her so long to find him. How much she aged in the last couple of months, her makeup and hair not being perfect and her rubbing her feet from being in heels. "I am going to call my mom." "Hi, Mom. I messed up big time. I located Sam and found out I did not take the infatuation off of him." Then Morgan Blackwell was so happy to hear her daughter finally found Sam. The lady who wanted her son-in-law back to normal showed up while her daughter was in mid-sentence. She had a soft spot in her heart for that mortal her daughter married. Even with her wanting that man back in her daughter's life, Morgan did respect Hermione's wishes and did not use magic to help find Sam. Even if she did not respect what Hermione wanted, her daughter messed up and Sam deserved to have her out of his life if he wanted. Being out of character, the mage did not do pleasantries. She looked at Sammy and blasted her son-in-law with her most powerful abjuration to dispel magic. The spell shook the foundation of the apartment complex he lived in. Then so Sam was not uncomfortable in his clothes and makeup, she changed the skirt, blouse and shoes into what she last remembered him wearing, a polo shirt, jeans and loafers. Finally she casted the cantrip remove makeup on him. Even though she was a mind reader, Morgan did not need to use that power to know that those two did not want her there. As soon as she saw that Sam was back to normal, she disappeared as quickly as she appeared. After a wall of white light crashed into Sam, all of those unnatural urges and desires left him. He was relieved when he felt his Achilles' heels were in their normal position. Not having the feel of nylon on his legs was relieved. The shirt not being loose-fitting was great. The best was he thought of Rick and nothing. Sam was Sam again. Sam looked at his wife and said, "Get out." Hermione could not believe that her husband did not want to talk. That he was not willing to work this out right now. "We need to talk." "No, we do not. When I asked you to take that spell off of me right away and you did not. I warned you then you would regret it. You scoffed at me. You are regretting it. We are not a couple. I regretted it the next day when I woke up and you were leaving me. We need to talk. No, we do not. I cannot trust you. It can never happen again. I gave up my connection to magic for you. We can be together as equals now. I gave up everything to be with you. I did not ask you to do so. We can does not mean that I want to. I still cannot trust you. Just because you gave up magic does not mean you changed. It does not mean you will not try to get your way with any advantage you have. Now leave, get out of my life. This hurts, for I love you and care for you. I just cannot trust you, and that special something we have is gone. At that moment, Hermione knew the checkered flag of their relationship was waved when she used magic on her husband. There was no going back to where the relationship was before she caused major damage to it. The lady who lost the two most important aspects of her life left Sam's apartment. The sad lady realized that she did not lose her connection to magic once, but twice. The first time she did was when she broke the trust between her and her husband. Today was the third birthday that Sam was celebrating since the last time he had real contact with Hermione, his ex-wife, in a social setting. It has been 2 years since she has tried to make any direct social contact with her ex-husband. On the first birthday after the divorce, Hermione sent him a birthday card and left a voicemail. At that time, all of his yesterdays with her meant nothing to him, so he erased her message without listening to it and wrote "return to sender" on the card. Now it was different. He did not do so often, but when Sam looked back at his time with Hermione, he does so objectively. He was thankful for the time he spent at her side, but did not regret them having separate lives. This was for he was not wearing rose-tinted glasses or blinders looking back at the past. People have a popular misconception that they always looked back at the past with perfect vision. This was only true if they do so objectively with intelligence and wisdom from lesson learned. Looking back on the past fondly or with hostility, then the memories will be skewed. Sam looked back in peace, so the man saw the past with the good and the bad. With it being his birthday, Sam treated himself to an early supper at his favorite Italian restaurant, Buon Cibo. The birthday boy loved how big their portions were, the high quality of their homemade sauces and pasta, and their freshly baked bread with the olive oil and herbs dip. He did not mind if he filled up on it, for then it meant he had a doggy bag to take home. 2 meals for the price of 1. He went for an early meal because on the weekend the wait for a table in the early afternoon was only 1/2 hour to 40 minutes compared to the evening the wait for a table was well over an hour. The hostess gave him a coaster pager and told him to expect a 40-minute wait. With it being a gorgeous day in late May, Sam did not mind the wait. In fact, he liked it. The man who was being introspective on life saw it as a chance to sit on the bench in their garden and contemplate where his life was going. The man who was about to complete yet another orbit around the sun, which was shining bright on him, did not like not having at least a path to follow. With no kids and no one special in his life, he was living for the moment and himself. That lifestyle might suffice for his needs momentarily, but Sam needed and wanted more in the long term. No one can argue it was not excellent to be able to do what you want when you want, but it was far from ideal. What good was it to be able to go on a mini vacation to the beach if one did not have a hand to hold while admiring the sunset? To the man with the empty hand, the event was only a small part of an experience. The biggest part of any event was reliving it with the other people you shared it with. Sam knew it was going to be hard to find someone special. If he was just looking for someone, he could easily go out to the single bars, do online dating, or have a friend hook him up. He could have a good life with many ladies which he met these ways. He was not looking for good, for it would pale in comparison to the great relationship he had with his ex-wife. He knew being with those ladies would only be a distraction from what he was missing. What drove the single man crazy was to find his someone special he needed to not look. As the man who was trying to plan the spontaneous to happen was relaxing in the sun, Hermione pulled up into the restaurant's parking lot. She knew it was her ex-husband's birthday and wanted to celebrate it by going to his favorite place to eat. She picked the early afternoon because she figured her husband would go there later in the day. He was the type of person who saved the highlight of a day or a celebration until the end. As she walked from her car to Buon Cibo's entrance, she wished that her and Sam went here more often. Her Jaffa would always suggest it when they were going out to eat, but she did not want to have to wait. Back then Hermie was always in a hurry and on the go. She found it funny that when she had all the time in the world she was impatient, but since she gave up her magic and became mortal she learned the virtues of a person taking their time. She smiled when she was about to turn the corner, for she would see the little garden they had in the front with a bench. When the weather permitted it and sometimes when it did not, Sam would have them sit out there during the wait for their table. The former mage was happy that at least she let herself find the magic of just being while on that bench with her man. She thought, what wouldn't I give for just one more chance of sitting on that bench with the man who I should be with? The lady, who found out she had to give nothing to do what she desired, did a double take when she saw her Jaffa on the bench. For a moment she thought it was a ghost made of her memory and not the real thing. Seeing the man she still loved was a sign to her. She did believe in magic and luck with being a former wizard. Even with it was a long time since those last two really saw each other, let alone had a civil discussion. Hermie thought, Sam would not mind if I sat down to say hi. The lady who was taking a chance sitting next to the man she still loved. The last time they had a conversation Sam told her he did not trust her and the something special they had was gone. Those words still stung the lady's soul. At first, for she did not believe them, then quickly the reason changed and it was for she knew they were true. She broke the trust between them by changing him into a woman for the night. The breaking of the faith between them took away that special something which bound them together. As the lady sat down, Hermie knew there at best Sam would be civil with her, at worst ignore her. Even with being rejected it would not have been bad. She would not spend the rest of the day wondering if Sam would have talked to her. Another thing, the lady who wanted what was once her, Sam's heart, if he ignored her she could just sit next to him. If so, she would sit next to him and reminisce about the times they sat on that bench taking pleasure in the comfortable silence between the lovers. The lady who, taking a chance of her offer for a little polite conversation being rejected, felt good about she would not be denied. They have seen each other at a couple social events since the divorce. Sam was cordial if they passed and said hi. It was true he did not stop for small talk, but it would have been awkward if he did. With Sam being deep in thought and staring across the road at the lush greenery of woods, he did not notice someone was joining him on the bench until he felt the extra weight on it. He turned around to Hermie saying, "Happy birthday, Sam." Seeing that smile which brightened many of his past birthdays pull Sam from the future to the past. For a moment he forgot that those two were not love anymore, and things between them could never be the same again. His face became a mirror as he had the smile which only Hermie could give him on it as he said, "Thank you, Mo." "I mean, Hermie. How have you been?" Then the mental time traveler arrived in the present, when Sam went to use emojiare, Irish for my love, his pet name for Hermione. It came from her not using my Jaffa while giving her birthday wishes. The shift back to now dazed him for a second. He wanted to just say hi and then end the conversation. Yet he could not. He had some unnatural urge to see how she was doing. Hermione was pleased that her taking a chance worked out and they were going to chat. She could tell from the tone in her ex's voice his question was a serious inquiry. This was good for Hermie, The lady could finally get closure. Even with wanting to get back with her ex, she knew that was beyond a miracle. If it only took a miracle, she would have begged her mom for one. I am doing good. Better now that I bumped into you. How about yourself? Sam was relieved that Hermie gave a short answer. This would be nothing more than small talk. He would quickly say how he was doing, then maybe another question or two from her, and the conversation would be done. It would not hurt just talking with her a little, plus for some strange reason he had a desire to know what she has been up to since they've been gone. It is always good to make your day better. I have been doing great. Not working any overtime now. I am not going to work so hard that I need to the weekend recover. I mean, I stay in more often than I used to, but I am not staying in for I do not have the energy. How about you? Are you still the social butterfly who wants to go out all the time? Sam could not believe he was engaging in talking with Hermie. It felt good spending time with Hermie, but still it was not natural for him to be this intrigued about his ex-wife. He had no ill feeling towards her, but still wanted the past to stay in the past. They should not be having an in-depth conversation. Small talk at the right time and place, yes. This was the first instant of that occurring. I do not go out as much as I used to. Time has finally caught up to me. I never realized how tiring life could be until I gave up magic. Sam looked down. He blamed himself for her actions of giving up her supernatural powers. The man with guilt knew he was not to blame. Still, he should have been more communicative about them being done before she threw away something she held dear. I am sorry about that. I should have told you we were done instead of just running away. I was not brave. I just thought you would cast another spell on me. Hermie hated that Sam was beating himself up for her actions. She used her fingers to guide his face back up so they can look at each other eye to eye. It saddened her. Jaffa's face lost its smile, but the lady who wanted to make him feel better kept her smile. You are not to blame. I abused my powers and chased you away. You had no idea that I would give up my powers or that I could. I totally understand you wanted to make sure that I never casted a spell on you again. Plus, sooner or later, all wizards give up magic. No one really wants to live forever. I gave up magic at the right time for me and for the right reasons, a chance of being with you again. Those words comforted the man about Hermie giving up magic, but not that she did not get what she wanted out of it. She paid a huge price for nothing. You didn't even get the chance of getting what you wanted. Oh, but I did. I saw you and told you. You did not want to give it to me. You were right in doing so. I messed up that night. I made you a woman. Even with enjoying talking to the wonderful lady in front of him, Sam did not want to dwell on the bad. Hermie should not have to relive that mistake. Not causing his MOGRA any pain was the main reason he stayed away from small talk on the few occasions they were at the same social event. As Sam was trying to find a segue to another topic, his coaster buzzed. Sam was happy for his good fortune of being saved by the bell. Not only did he not have to rehash the painful past with Hermie, he was also out of the conversation which he was getting too deep in. Then an odd urge popped into his mind and out of his mouth. Hey Hermie, I am really enjoying talking with you. Why don't you join me for dinner? Sam was disappointed in himself with the improv invite he just gave. It sounded too casual and it was only being polite. He wanted it to be sincere, for it was. Until a couple of minutes ago he was against anything more than polite conversation with Hermie, but this moment felt too good to stop. He knew he had to act quick so she does not go through the motions of politely decline what she thought was an offer in name only. Don't answer that question, just join me. I will not take no for an answer. It is my birthday and you would not dare deny the birthday boy. Hermione laughed as she saw that playful grin on her ex's face and took the hand he offered to her to help her up. She played back, I could never be so rude as to deny someone on their birthday any wish they wanted. As they walked in, Hermione insisted on paying for the meal. After all, it was Sam's birthday. Her Jaffa just agreed to it. He was paying attention to her but still was wondering why he was having these sudden urges and desires which were not normal. He was thinking that Hermione might have casted a spell on him, but that thought quickly disappeared, for he knew she had her powers no more. There was no way that Hermione would let herself look like an average lady who was just entering middle age if she could help it. His ex-wife was a little vain about her looks. Hermione's vanity did not come from being conceited, it came from her insecurities. Yes, even the best purveyors of the arcane arts could have low self-esteem. The man who was wondering why he had these sudden urges and desires which were unnatural for his personality was on the right track, contributing them to magic. The magic which was at work was not the weak spells and incantations which mages dealt with. His actions came from more powerful magic. Some of the highest powers in the multiverse and the great beyond were on work on him. Love, caring, compassion, and empathy were the strongest wards against unwanted outside influences like magic. Spells could change what was insignificant about a person, like their gender, sexual orientation, or like and dislikes. Most spells were powerless against changing the true essence of a person. Spells could break down a person's will and make them give in to their shadow self or do things just to end the ease, the angst, the mental conflict the spell could create. Spells could not create love out of nothing at all. The hostess set those two, and their waitress was Sherry. She waited on them many times before. She was remember them, for Sam always ordered the same meal, chicken parm with penne pasta, and the couple were good tippers. A good waitress always remembers good tippers. Being happy in seeing the couple eating together for the first time in 3 years, the waitress mentioned in passing it was nice to see those two back together. Both Sam and Hermione laughed and told her no. The two thought that they were correcting her, but in reality they were incorrecting her. At that moment they were together again. Being a couple will always be a state of being. It would not matter that those two did not announce or recognize they were two who were one. At that moment, if fate was on their side, they would both be able to move on from the past and regain their place in the other's life. Their time together was going great for the both of them, mostly catching up on the other's life. Hearing Hermione went back to school to get a promotion made Sam proud of her. He wished he was there to help her celebrate both of those achievements. He knew that if he was there, Hermione would enjoy it more. Life was always better when you have that someone special to share it with. Then the conversation went to old friends. If the people who were lost in the moment remember why they were not together, they would stay clear of this topic they just brought. They both knew Rick would be brought up soon. Rick was Sam's best friend, and when Hermione turned her ex into a woman, she gave him a crush on him. There was so many decisions and actions about that night which Hermione felt true remorse about. Making her husband have a crush on Rick was the biggest. At the time she saw it as just having a little fun to spice up the night. If she would have thought 1 microsecond, the lady would have known better. She manipulated a person's emotions, and it caused a strain between the bond of two close friends. The lady hated that her only thinking of herself hurt so many people. Magic not being able to change a person's core was true. It was hard to impossible for magic to change a person's true emotions, but it can give people urges. Being under the influence of a spell would tempt people into doing what was against their true core while thinking they were staying true to who they were. As soon as Hermione said Rick's name, those two were not lost in time anymore. Sam was still best friends with Rick again, but not after much time has passed. Rick finally lost his crush on Sammy when he met who he was seeing now, Maria. Her not being anything like Sammy helped. Sam was still upset that he had a crush on someone he should not had. It made him feel weird when he thought about those unnatural urges and desires he had. Rick is doing great. He has a great lady. It is a little hard for us to hang out that often, for he spends all his free time with her, and it is hard for me to be the third wheel. Then it is hard for us to hang out when he was single, for he pined on about Sammy. I am sorry. Sam did not want to talk about the past. It was hurtful to Hermie and himself. Even with it being an unpleasant topic, those two, who should be together, needed to talk about it. Hermie wanted and needed closure to be able to move on from Sam. Sam needed it also, but did not believe so. Even if that subject was important to his well-being, they would not talk about it on his birthday. Today he wanted to be great, for he believed it was the last time he would spend quality time with the woman he loved. No need to be sorry. It was the past. We moved on from it. Sam, what happened that night is not just in the past. It is in the present and will be in our futures if I cannot say my piece. You already did, so let us not rehash memories which will only bring us pain. No, my Jaffa, I never said my piece. I gave excuses and tried to downplay what I did. I was wrong, so wrong in casting those spells on you. My intent of them being playful does not change what I did. Only an idiot would think that doing something which could be taken as harmful is all right if their intention were not. That is why prank and teasing are so childish and immature. A person not wanting to cause pain does not change the fact that their direct action did, and if they thought for a second they would have seen it. To not feel guilty, I did not own up to the fact I would have hated it if you did that to me. I did not treat you like I wanted to be treated. I did not treat you like I would have treated others. There was no way I would have casted those spells on anyone else, for I knew it would have been wrong. My friends and family all said I lost everything when I gave up magic. That is not true. I lost everything when you lost your faith in me. No, I destroyed your faith in me. I just need you to know. Right then the normally cautious man had what was for him the unnatural urge to totally trust Hermie again. He felt that she has changed. You did not destroy it, I got rid of it. I could have heard you out and we would have talk. That would have done no good, for I would not admit what I did. I think you would have saw it from my point of view. That does not matter, it was the past. Yes, and I have to live with that mistake. No, you do not. We have to live with that mistake, and I am willing to. I cannot imagine the mental anguish I cause you. Sam smiled. That is the past now also. That is not the part of the mistake I am talking about us living with. I am talking about the part of us moving on past it. Us spending this time together is helping. You will always have a special part in my heart. I think I am going to get a doggy bag and go. If you leaving are, then I am also. I want to move on from the past with you in my life. Hermie smiled as this meal went beyond her best expectations. Sam wanted to be friends with her. Oh, my Jaffa. I mean Sam, sorry, you will always be my Jaffa. I would love to be friends with you again. I love spending time with you. Sam was a little disappointed in himself again. The man was not as forthright as he should have been. People need to be clear, straightforward and honest when talking about finding love which was once lost. Emoji, and I am not sorry about calling you that. I am not talking about being friends. I am talking about us working towards it being a couple again. I love you. I love you also. Let's stay to finish our meal and then start becoming a couple again somewhere more private. Love, caring and compassion won out once again against magic. All it took was Sam knowing that Hermie saw her actions from his point of view and Sam being open to hearing Hermie out.